is, I have her bio right here because it is so impressive. I can't remember it all. So I'm going to pull it up because I'm so happy to be here with you and to merge our worlds of like how to use branding to make more money and how to work less by having a brand that says what shows people the value that you're creating. So Heather Poduska is a star maker who helps talented entrepreneurs go from being unseen experts to industry icons. She's the author of the Celebrity Status Handbook, How to Create a Personal Brand That Gets You Seen and Paid Like a Star. Heather also has over 30 years of professional performance experience on stage as an operatic singer, or soprano specifically, as a speaker and the host of the podcast, The Epic Woman. And she's also the host of the television show Thrive with Heather Poduska. She combines her unique performance skills with her expertise as a personal brand strategist, image consultant, and business coach to teach driven entrepreneurs how to become highly profitable, dynamic presenters, and rise to celebrity status in their industry. Her clients have appeared on national platforms and made thousands of dollars speaking. And Heather's greatest love is helping entrepreneurs get to the core of who they want to be and giving them the tools to express themselves powerfully and authentically. And are you such an example of that?
Oh, thank you.
I love how you are always busting out of any kind of box that people might put you in and doing everything from like singing opera on live to, doing hip hop or rapping, I'm not sure, to being a photographer and all the different aspects of your personality that you express through your social media. So thank you so much for being that. Thank you for being here to share with all of us. And how did you get here?
You invited me. That's how I got here.
To being your work,
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah, it's been, like for all of us who've been around the sun more than one or two times, it's been a journey. And it's so funny. I was just revisiting my own story and how I usually tell it, because I've evolved past the point of where I used to tell my story into a whole new different level. So my story of entrepreneurship actually started the day that I decided to hang up my operatic singing career pursuit. And I say pursuit because I wasn't traveling the globe singing on international stages. It was a night that I had been staged with the Boston Lyric Opera, and I had been in the chorus in the professional ensemble for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And I thought it was going to be my great entree into my stepping stone into a bigger career. But I had been struggling with a lot of body tension that had interfered with my singing technique. And when I was younger, I could, pop out high notes and do whatever. And when I got into the more competitive arena of the conservatory, where everybody there was great, everybody there was was the best in their little town or wherever they had been performing. And now we were like in Boston, musicians from all over the world. And a lot of my colleagues were going off and doing these great things. They were going to City Opera in New York and Santa Fe and San Francisco and Chicago and the Met Young Artist Program. And I was like here trying to get my jaw to unlock because I was so stressed. And, but I had a voice, and I knew that the voice was in there because when I was relaxed, I could sing. And I would sing for a teacher or a coach, and they'd be like, yeah, you've got it. You've got the talent. You've got the voice. Keep going. Otherwise, I would have maybe been like, I need to try something else. But people who knew me, who heard me when I was at my best, knew that it was there. But then I would get in these situations where it was competitive, or I felt like I was going to be judged, or something was really important to me, and I would just seize up. So I worked and worked and worked on it. I went to New York and I worked with a breath specialist who worked with emphysema patients to learn how to breathe properly. I did Alexander lessons, which is basically you stand up and sit down in a chair for an hour to get your alignment. I tried everything. I worked with coaches and teachers to try to overcome this, but it was so ingrained in my body that my nervous system was not able to really relax around it. But I kept plugging along, doing my thing, and I tried really hard, and I eventually got this gig in the ensemble, and I'd been there for for several years. And I remember this one night that the director had staged me. It was Magic Flute, and he had staged me right at the front of the stage. I was closest to the audience. I was right at the lip by the orchestra, except he had staged me sitting on the floor with my back to the audience. So I was upstage, my back was to the audience. They couldn't see me. And right in front of me was the lead soprano, and she was standing and she was singing over the top of my head. And I was like, nope, no, I am done. I am done. I am sitting on the floor with my back to the audience. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my training. I've dedicated my blood, sweat, and tears to this art form. I have given it my all. And I am sitting on the floor with my back to the audience, watching someone sing over my head. No, but I had no idea what else I was going to do. I mean, I decided to, like, I wanted to feel successful at something because I felt like an utter failure. I wasn't making any money. I'd struggled the whole time. I gave my life for my passion and my craft. So I went to a career counselor. I was like, I don't know what else to do. It's not like I had a corporate job that I had all these business skills. And I tell you, Jen, this is not an exaggeration. When I started my business, which was like a decade ago, which is long and not long, I didn't know what Gmail was. I'd never heard of it. I was like, what is this Gmail you speak of? I had no idea. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. And we did some assessments, and she told me about personal branding. And it was just like this massive light bulb went off, because it's an exact metaphor for singing in my mind. It's helping people find their voice, refine their sound, project their voice out into their market, engage with their audience, tell a story, connect emotionally, look the part, know how to schmooze a room at the after party. I mean, it's the whole thing. And that's what you're doing as an entrepreneur. Exactly. So I was like, this is it. I'm going to go do this. So I got trained I got certified as a personal brand strategist. It was my entree into the entrepreneurial journey for me. And I started working with clients mostly on messaging, because that's the foundation for everything. But it evolved, and more things got added to what I do as I went along. And I'm an certified image consultant. And my clients started getting results. They were selling their programs and making money speaking. But what I did when I launched my business, because I did not have a corporate background. So instead of having this like nice corporate background to fall on, I had this corporate chip on my shoulder of like, I wasn't a business person. Mm-hmm. I went 180 degrees the other direction of like, I have to be professional. And I was just putting together a training the other day, a video that I'm doing, and I included a picture of my first professional headshot as an entrepreneur. And I look like this. I'm like, so stiff. My hair looks like a helmet. I've got like a suit on, and my shoulders, I just look so stiff. But I wanted to be professional. And I was trying, again, real, just like in singing, where I was trying so hard to get it right. I was trying so hard to get it right as a business person. And my creativity was just smothered, was like dying to come back to the table and play. And I remember I was working with a high-end business coach. It was a year-long mastermind, and I was learning how to do Facebook ads and pixels. I mean, there's nothing to me, no shame on anybody who's a Facebook ads expert. But to me, there is nothing more creative. I mean, nothing less creative than sitting there trying to like figure out ad spends and clicks. I was like in hell. And I was trying to figure out some messaging for an ad. And my creative voice was just like, hello, can I come out and play? And I came up with this idea to pitch a contest to my audience, where I was going to say, you give me 5 minutes or 10 minutes with you in front of your brand, and I will tell you $100,000 idea. And if I don't give you $100,000 idea, I will give you a free session. Because I thought, I still believe I could do that like that, but because it's not that hard when it's not that hard. But my idea was I was going to post it as winner, chicken dinner, step right up, and I was going to do this whole carnival thing with it. And I presented it to my coach at the time, and she was like, that is going to totally ruin your brand. That's not on brand for you. You've tried to establish this high-end elite brand, that it's going to confuse people. And there was a part of my brain that was just, excuse my French, but I was just like, fuck it, I'm doing this. I don't care what happens. And you know what happened? Nothing. It's not like I had all these people take me up on it. Nothing happened, except that it was like, there's this show on TV right now called La Brea. I don't know if you've seen the commercials for it, but there's a big hole, a sinkhole in the earth that opens up, and half the people fall down to prehistoric times and half stay in modern times. And they look up at the sky and there's like a crack in the sky where the break was. That was like that moment for me of like this crack of my creativity saying, you can't live like this. You can't work like this. It's not going to work. And so I started more and more things. And I just started down this path of allowing that creativity to come out more and more and more and more and more. I started writing poetry and taking pictures. I did a couple of rap videos. But it just, and even now that they're reels and TikToks, it's gotten more and more and more. Like what you said at the beginning. I think it's something, and the reason I'm sharing sort of this extended version of my story is because I think a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in that I have to be professional. And when they think about their brand, it's like a box they shove themselves into. And that has nothing to do with what powerful branding is about. It's about authenticity and being able to bring who you are to the table. And now, like when people interact with me and my brand, it's usually because they've seen some stupid dance I've done on TikTok. Like, this is also authentic for me. Like, this statement necklace and the lipstick. It's not, I'm not that, and I'm not that. I'm all of it, as are we all.
Yes.
That's how we're having this conversation.
Yeah. And I love that your path led you from like a desire to feel successful, and then your performance background connected to your visual expression, value in visual expression, like creative expression in general, authenticity, fun and playfulness, and sort of recovering from the get it right, be professional vibe, and how that's working for you. And it works for your clients. It's like how to get people to not have this stiff jaws, get it right vibe, and to get into their bodies, to perform in a way that's authentic for them, not performing for show or for something I think they should do or should be. Right. And that's huge. It's so aligned with who I am and what I bring and what I support people in as well. Because that other vibe is not sustainable. You can't hold that, like the whole fake it till you make it thing is not, it doesn't work, because you can't make it when you actually make it if you faked it, It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of have I have a little bit different philosophy, but on the fake it till you make it, because I think that there are different triggers for us to see ourselves. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might not feel confident, but if you put on a power necklace and it is a sort of a backwards way into feeling the way that you want to feel.
I hear that. But what I mean by that is like, it's confidence. I get that. Confidence comes from experience, from doing and showing up. And if you're trying to gain confidence by doing something that's not aligned for you, it's not going to get you where you want to go.
Yeah. And I think, I agree with that. And I think the other thing is I don't believe that professionalism isn't important. I totally think it's important. And I'm a really big believer in systems and structures as well. It's like with any art form, you have to have technique and artistry. If you're just technical, your performance is dry. But if you're just artistic and you don't have the technical chops to back it up, you cannot perform at an elite level. You need both of those things, and they have to be in balance. So that's kind of how but the thing that I agree 100% with what you're saying is that proving energy, wearing that professionalism as a mask to prove something is a heavy, heavy weight around your neck.
Yeah. And it doesn't really attract what you want it to attract. It doesn't attract people who meet you and see you and are attracted to who you actually are. It kind of pushes people away in a way. because they can feel approving, you know?
Right. Well, and they can't be attracted to who you are because you're not showing us who you are.
Exactly. Great. Okay. So tell us some of the biggest misconceptions about branding, like sort of the shoulds that people have on themselves and about branding that you can, yeah, you just want to like throw out. Yeah. What are those?
My God. Oh, I have a couple, and I think you're gonna be surprised at one of them. But the first one is just what branding is. Everybody, like when you say branding, everybody thinks it's like your colors and your fonts and your website. It's your visual brand. That is only a sliver of what your brand is, and all of the visual pieces are actually based on your brand. It's an offshoot of what your core brand is. I mean, to me, your brand, first of all, your brand is every way that you are showing up. It is the sum of your reputation. You already have a brand. If you walk into a room, you have a brand. You have a reputation as a personal brand. It's how you show up. It's how you dress. It's how you speak as an entrepreneur. It's your offers. It's your pricing structure. It is your messaging. It's the platforms that you show up on. It's everything. It's all, everybody already has a brand. It's branding and then the visuals, all of that come from what the foundation of your brand is in terms of your belief system and your mission and the why that you talk about in
values.
Yeah, all of those things. So that is like, that's what number one pet peeve is, like, oh, I need to rebrand. It's like, then most people think I need a logo. Well, your logo is based on your messaging. And so you have to get clear on your messaging first. So that's one. That's a pet peeve that I have. And the other one is there's this hot debate. And I don't know if you see, let me know if you see this too, but there are people like really people making way more money than I am, established like on two different sides. Like there's this side over here that says niche, 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 narrow, 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 brand yourself, claim your space. And then there's this side over here that's like, that's like, don't box yourself in. You are the brand, you are the face, just talk about yourself and how you help people. And I find that talking about it in an either or does not serve your purpose. Just like being technical and creative, you have to have both. And I was thinking about this just this morning. If you are somebody, and I was just reading this, if you are someone who says you don't need a niche, just be expressive, don't box yourself in, that is your niche. Your niche is saying you don't need a niche, right? That you are addressing a group of people who do not like traditional branding terms, but you are still niching yourself by putting your stake in the ground around what you believe. And I think you need both. I think that you are designed, Jen, you and I know each other. You are designed to serve a certain group of people based on your life experience, about your talent, your business experience, your business acumen, your innate talents make you designed, and your human design. Let's look at that too. Like you are uniquely designed to help one group of people at a much higher level than 99% of the other people in the world. Doesn't mean you can't help other people, but like I am not going to be the person that helps people write Facebook ads, like, or do pixels. That is not what I am uniquely. If you want to do a really cool TikTok video or speak from the stage and make money, get really clear on your messaging, I can help you do that.
Yeah.
So there, you want to dial in, because that is how you become known. Like I have a horrible memory when it comes to parking at the mall, horrible. And I drive a minivan. And believe it or not, there are other minivans at the mall in the parking lot. So I have this really old Christmas ornament, like jingle bell, that hangs from my rearview mirror. So when I'm walking through the thing, I can specifically so that I can remember. It's not because I think it's so cool, or it's just I know that that's my minivan. And it helps me remember. It's something that catches my attention. It's recognizable. It's associated with my minivan. And that's what you want your brand to do for you, so that you don't have, that's the whole part of making money with less effort using your branding, because you're not using the sprinkler effect of just throwing your shit out into the universe and hoping it lands. You're being really specific, and you are the brand. And you do need to show up, and just being your wonderful self and talking about what you had for dinner at the restaurant last night is part of your brand, and it is valuable. And it may be the very thing that makes someone sign up with you.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that the other isn't also valuable. You need both.
I love this. And I think, I talk a lot about black and white thinking too, and how it doesn't serve and doesn't have to be either or. And a lot of times I tell people, if you don't know who your ideal client is because you have your business, like really put yourself out there authentically and then see who comes to you. And then when you have a client that you absolutely love, that you help the most, they get the best results or the happiest, response, that's your ideal client. And then you can take that person and who they are, their profile, so to speak, and then figure out how to hone your marketing from there. And that's your niche, really. It's like, it helps you just get clear on who that person is, So I love that it's not, you're not trying to argue this or that, because you don't have to choose. You can have both. Yeah.
Well, and you need, and I would say you need both. It's not, you need both. Wait, I went back up. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything I say. You don't have to do anything that you say. Nobody has to do anything. I'm just presenting what I think is most advantageous.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
one of the things I think is interesting is that it's so hard for people to get their "what do you do" statement. That message that, so what advice do you have for people to like bottom line in messaging?
I love this question, because there are people who've been in business for 20, 30 years that still don't know how to figure out how to talk about what they do. And again, it goes back to the same set of people. It's like narrow it, be specific, and other people like, just talk about the results. My favorite way to think about what you do, and I think the reason, there's one of my podcasts, I have to figure out, I talk about it in one of my podcasts, I don't remember what number it was. But then I believe that the number one reason that people can't figure out their help statements is because the bigness, the grandiosity of what they are actually capable of delivering in the form of a transformation, they think it's too much and they pull back, and then they try to sliver themselves into some formula. That's why I call myself a star maker. That's pretty friggin' bold statement, right? Like, who is she to say that she's a star maker? Well, I sang for 30 years. I'm an image consultant. I'm a messaging expert, and I'm not afraid to be visible. And I know how to do that. So yeah, when let's say you are going to become a star, but I know the elements, and I know that what my background is and how it comes together. I know that that's at the peak of what I do. If you did all of the things that I could teach, you would be in a pretty good space in terms of your fame within your industry. But it takes some chutzpah to say that. And I've, had my own, like, is that too ballsy to say something like that? Like, is it too bold? But if you think about the transformation, the biggest transformation that you are able to claim, the biggest, the boldest transformation. And if you actually wrote it down on a piece of paper and said, oh man, I could do that. I could help somebody 10x their profits. I could help someone find the love of their life. I could help someone lose 100 pounds. But can you or can't you?
Yeah.
Qualified, or are you not?
Yeah. So what would be an example of that for somebody who's an artist? Like, what would be a bold statement for somebody who's making something that people get to experience in their daily life, either hanging on the wall or craft or, singing?
Let me think about this, because it's mostly service. So I would say, what is the biggest, boldest result of your audience experiencing your art?
Yeah. And it would depend on the art. And sometimes people will tell you, like, every day I love my living room because this painting is there and it makes such a difference for me.
Yeah. So you're thinking about your audience. It's not about you, what you can do for your audience. What will your art do for your audience?
And what will they say? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What is the, yeah. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit different, because if I got up there and said, I am the best singer in the world, That's different than saying, I can help you optimize your talent. Those are two different things, right? So as a coach or consultant, I wouldn't get up and say I'm the best singer in the world.
No, but I'm saying like for the singer, like
Yes.
what would they say? What would their audience members say about them? Like,
Exactly.
That's what I was trying to come from is like, if I'm talking about a painter, what would that painter's promise be to their audience? What was the audience saying about the work for them and how it impacts them? So
Yeah,
it's impact.
right. Impact. And I would say about it about the work, what the audience says about the work.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to help you to sell your art just to say, I'm a great artist. Like there are a lot of great artists in the world, but what is it about your art that's unique? What would people say? And maybe as an artist, you wouldn't even be able to know. As a singer, sometimes when I get feedback from my teacher, because I still take voice lessons, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that that's what you hear in my voice, or I didn't know that that's the way my voice sounds out there in the arena or whatever, where I'm singing.
So then it comes down to asking your clients and your customers what they experience from the art, from the work. Because I think sometimes there's a loss. Okay, the work goes away, and then I have people for my jewelry business that I sold a year ago that I've had for 9 years. I saw somebody in the park on Saturday. He's like, "Oh, I still love my earrings. I still wear them all the time." She described them. It's like, but the impact goes on beyond the moment the sale happens. So it's like getting in touch with that, remembering that, because that's part of the why for those of us who are creating,
Yes.
and giving service to people who are making impact on others, those of us who are doing businesses. So
I think another way for artists, well, and entrepreneurs, I mean, artists are entrepreneurs, so I don't mean to differentiate there, but is to talk about your point of view. That's really important. What is your point of view about art? What is your point of view about music? What is your point of view about the technique? What is your point of view about why you're creating?
Yeah, that's great.
Because you're building your brand. If you're an artist and you're selling a product, right? You're actually selling the product. That's the product that you're branding, right? Like your product. But you are the face of you are the artist. So it's a double thing because you're selling a product, but you are also the reputation as the artist. So you have to build your brand reputation. So it's the story. It is the story of the artist and the point of view of the artist about their world, about why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, that's great. And the vibe, like that's the big word for me. It's like, what's the vibe? What am I feeling from it?
Right.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about in a way, but people feel it. And you can ask people what they feel too.
Well, if I asked you though, Jen, why did you make art? Why do you make art?
Yeah.
The kind of art that you make, what draws you to that?
Mm-hmm.
Anything, but you make a specific kind of art.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A certain size, and like there's always specific things about the why. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Okay. So I want to ask one more question before I talk to you about how you actually work with people and what that looks like. So what are some ways that people sabotage their branding, their brand?
I think that's a great question. I think trying to be, it's a lack of confidence in yourself, but trying to be everything to everybody to chase money.
Great. Yes.
It like not trusting that if you show up as yourself and claim what you want to do, that there won't be enough. And that is not true. There is an audience. There is always an audience for talent. If you have no value to give, then go home and sit on your couch, right? If you have value to give, if you have something to contribute to the world, there is someone who needs that. And again, it goes back to digging your groove deeply enough so that you become known. If I go to the grocery store, if I go to the grocery store and I need to buy tissues to blow my nose, what am I going to grab? I'm going to grab Kleenex, right? Kleenex is not a thing. It's a brand. A tissue is a thing. Kleenex is the brand. So they've established that they own tissue. Kleenex, like the space of tissue. So you want to create that so that your brand starts to work for you and you don't have to recreate the wheel every time you step up to try to attract clients. And
Yeah.
what most people do is they don't go deep enough. They don't go bold enough. They don't master what they're doing enough. And then it's like having a tree, right? A tree, like you want to get the trunk solid and then you can branch out and have your visibility. And most people are like trying to grow a branch out of the side of the trunk of their tree and wondering why it snaps, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always take that further into like the roots. Like the roots are your values, your beliefs, you know, your authentic expression. That's the roots of the tree. So you have all of that, and that's where everything is coming from. So as you grow, it's growing, it's all connecting, it's congruent, and there's this sustainability there because it's all connected.
Exactly.
You don't have to pull the roots out and take them away because you're not in alignment with them. You know, beautiful. Love this. Okay. So how do you work with people? How does that work? Like, how do you help make stars?
I take them through what is my icon process. And it's really a step-by-step process to start where you said, like to go from the roots to get the foundation, because most entrepreneurs, you know this from your own work, they don't do that work. And then they wonder why they're spinning their wheels. That's why they're going to business coach to business coach to business coach, because they haven't done the foundational pieces. So it's in a step-by-step cumulative process, so that you're building the trunk of the tree, you're building it from the roots to the branches, and help them get clarity on their message, really clear on their niche, their message, their target audience. Don't help them put together streamlined business model and their signature offers. And then, so that's all like the foundational piece. And then we work on the visibility piece, which is facing forward, performance. What is your image? You know, because image isn't, we didn't talk about that, but what your image is important. It is a billboard for all of the other things. It's through my method, the icon method, that I take people through to create this entity, this whole thing. And I work occasionally with private clients, and I am launching a group mastermind I think at the end of November.
Beautiful.
Yep. For people who are ready to be seen, be visible, who want to be speakers, who want to be leaders, who want to be in the media, who want to be front and center in their industry.
Beautiful. How exciting. What a lucky group. Awesome.
I feel lucky. I love what I do, so I feel lucky.
Absolutely. You always have fun no matter what you're doing. Something I love about you is you're fun and playful and creative, and you bring all that to what you do. And you also are so smart and so well trained and have so many things to bring. So there's so much value there. So if you feel drawn to connect with Heather, what's the best way they can find you?
I am my name everywhere. It's Heather Poduska, Poduska. My website is Heather Poduska. I am Heather Poduska everywhere on socials, everywhere.
Great. Yeah.
I'm not hiding.
Yeah, she's not hiding. Easy to find, and she's doing really fun, amazing things on TikTok and Instagram that are really fun to watch and see. And her website's solid. So if you want some inspiration, resources, connection, do you have a sort of a gift for people on your website that they can tap into?
I would suggest going to Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. If you go to my link on my bio, there is a free guide on how to find your wealthiest niche.
Nice.
And then there's a guide, I believe, on how to create your own brand style. So there are two that they can.
Cool. Okay, great.
My podcast is there as well.
Great. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Heather. This is so fun. I learned a lot. I'm excited to share these with other people, and best of luck with your new program. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jen. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.